stacking every month. Put that work in, I deserve to stunt. Bring the baddies to the front. It's the type of life that I want. It's the type of life that I want. It's the type of life that I want. Yeah. It's the type of life that I want.
Alright, so you see I took the rear bumper off yesterday. I noticed I was going to have to take it off anyway because there's let's see, that little fender liner there. Took those off both sides. The rear bumper, I thought there was a solid piece behind this, but it just turned out to be like the one up front, little bumper support. So took that off, and it kind of gave me a little bit better idea on how I was going to do some things. So I thought before I was going to have to cut this out and attach it to that, but I'll just probably plate this like I did up front. So once I cut this rail out, I'll plate this, and that's what I'll tie the other frame rail into. That way I can still mount the rear bumper and everything. I don't have to worry about having to make that back. Like I said, it's pretty flat here, so like I said, I'll weld the 3/16 plate there, attach the frame rails, and we'll be good. And I've been looking, just doing my homework on the triangulated 4-link. So I'm thinking the kit I got, the QA1 in the pictures, the bars go inside to the cross member. Like I said, one of these are for the shocks, one's for the upper trailing arm. So they angle in, where most triangular 4-links you see they angle, or you see them angle out towards the frame rails. So it could go either way on these. I'm not sure yet. I won't know until it's in the location, or until the rear end's in the location, see what type of height I get to play with. The major thing is keeping the brackets for the rear seat. So if I have to cut those out and reattach them once the cross member or anything's in, I can. But if I keep them in place how they are and probably angle the upper bars out, I could also do that. But for the most part, I think the trickiest thing is going to be to make sure the bottom ones are parallel to the ground. So that shouldn't be too hard. That's these two right here. Those will be parallel. And the top ones I would like to have parallel, but I guess if they are angled down towards the ground a little bit, it's okay. Like I said, I've been doing some homework on it, running my options. Should have the upper ones here. So you have to think this probably come up another 7-8 inches, so it'll probably be about there. And once I throw the mounts and everything on it, I'd have to definitely cut out this bracket. And once that bracket's out, might be a little bit easier to see where the upper ones are going to go. So if they angle in, they might hit. But if they angle out and down a little bit, it'd be a little bit more clearance. I guess if they angled in and down a little bit also, should be okay. So we'll have to determine that when we get there. Like I said, I need to cut out a lot more. Yeah, so I probably won't chop out the wheel well this way just yet. I'll clearance it just for the height so far, but eventually it'd be cut out, a little mini tub in there. Cut these frame rails out. And what I'm thinking, I'm not worried about the body flexing too much. Like I said, it's unibody, so all this is one solid piece, and I'm not cutting any of that out. It's just these frame rails I'm cutting, but like I said, all this is one solid piece without the frame rail. One solid piece. frame rail. Guess it's part of the body, but it's not. You kind of see where it ties in up there. It's pretty much the same back here, just a few spot welds. So I'm guessing this is mostly just for the suspension, just stiffening that up. So if I remove this, it should be easy, and none of the body should flex or anything, because that, like I said, it's just two separate pieces. They're really not tied into each other. But I might just put a ratchet strap across here and here, tighten that up and get that nice and snug so it won't flex. But like I said, with all this being one solid piece, I'm not worrying about it flexing at all. It's just a little security measure just in case. But yeah, today we cut out more of the floor, so get the frame rails cut out. And now that I look at it, let's see, I might just try to cut all that frame rail out. I'll look at the pictures of the Hemi Cruiser. Like I said, it's just a few spot welds tacked into place. So if I cut that, cut along there, just try not to have the whole floor fall out. So like I said, I have to cut this piece out here for the clearance of the upper trailing arms, but the floor itself I want to keep intact, or at least up to here for the rear seat brackets, because like I said, what's already cut out, I probably have to raise it up and build another floor and cover everything up. So let me stop talking, get the cutoff wheel and everything going, and I'll cut you guys back on once more of the floor is out of here. All right, I'm gonna say it's hot, it's dusty, and I cut out a lot more of the car. So kind of see like 2 frame rails, a couple wheel wells in there. So yeah, I did have to close the trunk or the hatch, whatever you want to call it, just to stiffen it back up. I'll put that board under there also with the jack, so that helps stiffen it up a little bit, because I guess that was a little structural, just a little bit, not completely, but yeah. We have some room. I guess I probably should have knocked that out too, which eventually that will come off, but not right now. Well, not just a second, but probably before I go in for the day. Did have that ratchet strap just to tie these two ends a little bit. Like I said, add a little bit of support. Not worried about it going out so much, so, or not worried about coming in, so keep it from going out. I know it's a little dark in here. I wish I would have rolled the windows down before I started taking everything apart, but I didn't, so they're gonna be up. But yeah, wheel wells are out, those frames are out. I said eventually I'll cut this out also. Probably up to about here. I'll cut it out. Well, I guess that is a good stopping point right there. I might not have to go any farther than that, so we'll see where I run the frame rails off of here. If I need them wider, I'll cut more of this out. If not, I'll just plate that. I'll probably cut this side back a little bit more to match up with the other side. Like I said, it's all going to determine. Yeah, well, it's definitely going to get cut out, probably at least to the wheel well, because I might have to tub it a little bit. So yeah, we get cut out to at least here, if not more. Just have to figure out where I'm going to run the frame rails, and we'll go from there. So yeah, tomorrow after work, let me get out of the dark. But you guys can see what happened in this area back here. Like I said, I'll grind this a little bit off. I might plate it, might not have to. Yeah, I might plate it, just stiffen that up a little bit more, or thicken it up. Right now it's pretty thin. Like I said, that's going to add structure back to it. Yeah, so it's just same thickness as that, so pretty thin. Probably put a 3/16 inch plate on it and connect the frame to that. But tomorrow, I think what I'm gonna do, oh, jeez, wear your PPE. So probably should have had my mask on too, but I had the face shield protecting the eyes and everything, and earbuds in, listen to music, protecting the hearing too, because that saw and the cutoff wheel do get pretty loud up under there. But yeah, wear your PPE, gloves, all that. See, I have the hoodie on, and it's pretty hot in here. I'm saying 76, but that's close to starting to cool down. But yeah, so that's a lot of room. That's a lot of room. So the axle probably sit somewhere right along there. We'll definitely remeasure. So we'll measure the wheel well, we'll measure the wheelbase, center it, and remeasure for the ground. So I'll run a tape line from the front to the back of the car to represent the ground on both sides. We'll measure up. I think the fronts were 12.5 inches off of it for the middle of the spindle, or for the middle of the wheel, something like that. So we'll figure out where we need the center of the axle, and then we could get that mocked up. I probably have to borrow my neighbor's 6-ton jack stands again, because these little 3 tons don't go up high enough. So the 6 tons, I'll jack the axle up, mock it up into place, try to get the right angle on it, and then start measuring for the bars. Let's see, I got everything all over the place now. So I'll have to attach these brackets and all this dust and shavings and whatnot. So these will probably get attached probably somewhere in this area. Have to leave room to get the bolt through and all that. So I want them somewhat like that to have them parallel, but to get a bolt and nut and bolt through, it might have to be about there, and then I have to brace that in. So put a brace on the back of it and figure that out. So that'll probably be the first thing I do. I do want them a little bit wider though, but like I said, I need to keep them parallel to the frame rails, and also have to leave room for the frame rail to come off of it. So who knows, might be able to get away with that, or have it offset a little bit and then just box that in. So we'll figure that out. Then we'll start cutting. Well, I'll try to figure the angle where it's going to sit, so we know how high it's going to have to come up, tie into the frame rail, and go across. So all this may or may not get cut out, or if anything, probably cut this edge out and keep some of it so it ties it into the body still. Yeah, that's probably what will happen, because it'll probably come off it about here for the frame rail. So I'll have a couple inches. I'll remove this bracket, but try to keep some of this bracing in here and box it up. Do the same on both sides. Like I said, I have to figure out where to mount these, where the axle's going to sit, and it's a lot. I know it's a lot, but said, it's too late to turn back now. It was about too late about 6 months ago, so we just have to make it happen. Little quick video, like I said, just cutting out those wheel tubs. So we'll mini tub it. I'm still trying to figure out the wheels, but I can't figure out those until I get the axle in. You know, the offset for all that, how that's going to sit. But yeah, it's a lot going into it. Tomorrow we'll start cutting frame rails and mocking up the rear end again on the height we need it. It's going to be a little tough. I'm probably going to try to do as much work as I can with this closed until I get the frame rails back in, so that way it doesn't flex or anything. But overall, like I said, it's solid. It's not going anywhere on the 4 jack stands. The front, still need to box all this up. Like I said, I still need to get another tank, so I'd probably fish plate and box all this up, and then I'll pretty much finish off the tank. Cut out the transmission tunnel a little bit more, and then mock up the 4L80 in there and see where that sits. Because even with just the 4L80 in there, I could get an idea on where the motor's going to sit and the pinion angle. So when the rear end's in there, I know how to, or where it's going to sit, or at least get a good idea of it. But yeah, we'll start mocking up the, let's see, the rear end, get that in place, start mocking up the lower trailing arms, the upper trailing arms, the cross members, the frame rails, and pretty much the whole back half. We'll get that mocked up, and that'll be tomorrow. But for this one, I'll sweep all this up, throw all this in the back of the truck. Might mock that up in place. Let's see. Oh, it's got a little bit of weight to it. Not terrible, but I guess once the third member's in there and the axles and the brakes are on it, it's definitely going to be a lot heavier. But we'll see. So it'll sit about right there. I don't know, right about there. I know the camera's a little bit of a bad angle. So tucking right about there. I'm hoping, or else if not, the floor is going to have to come up a lot higher. But that's where I'm guessing they'll sit. So the floor is definitely going to have to come up. Definitely have to figure out the angle on the upper trailing arms. I think they're going to have to face out from the axle instead of in, and tie into the frame rails that I add. Like I said, it's a learning curve. There's nothing for this car other than the pictures that American Gasser sent me. They're the ones that built the Hemi Cruiser. So basing it off of there a little bit. I know this 9-inch is a little bulkier than the one they use because it has the supports here and everything to keep the axle tubes from flexing. So yeah, I thought I found me a third member on Marketplace, but about 3.5 hours away, and they weren't separating the third member from the rear end or the housing. So I was like, nah, I'm not driving all the way up there for that, even though it's a good price. If it was just a third member, I'd have no problem putting some miles on the bike, heading out there, throw it in a backpack or strap it to the little bracket I have on the back of the bike and ride back. But I can't do that with the whole
whole rear end. But yeah, I'll probably chop this off, a little bit more clearance, and tomorrow be another video. We'll get to cut some frame rails, measurements, and see how far we can get on the rear end. I'm not going to rush the process of it, so the back half's not going to be done by the end of the month, but it will be close, or we'll have a pretty good understanding on where everything's going to sit. So let me stop talking, clean up a little bit, do one more cut, and I'll cut you guys on next time.